James, Ben, what do you know about South Africa?
Cricket. They play cricket. They're really good
yeah.
at rugby union, especially at the moment.
They do a lot
really
of things.
flat mountain.
I was
Tabletop
thinking
mountain.
like one of the ones, like, because I did this last time. I had a little question, and I'm like, okay, one of the things I think is Elon, obviously, Elon Musk, famous South African, very popular right now, or very, very not popular right now. Depends how you look at it, I suppose. Colonialism, big thing there. The Boer War, apartheid. Anyway, that's where it actually ties into our story a little bit here, apartheid. So, very famous, obviously, some pretty horrific reasons. But our story today will delve into a wonderful story. It's about running, nothing too bad, but it does come up in the story, I suppose, a little bit.
Is this Blade Runner?
No, it's not Blade Runner.
Okay.
No.
It's not Cool Runnings. That's Jamaica. I know that.
No. See, I was hoping actually when I asked the question, I was like, someone would be like, Blade Runner. Yeah, I know that about South Africa. And I'll be like, yeah, not that one. Not today. No, we've got a different South African sports story about a runner
That's Blade Runner.
who was not a Blade Runner. This runner was fully able. He had legs that extended from all the way down from his hips to his feet, and they were fully intact. And this meant very good runner too. His name was Sergio. And he was competing in a ultramarathon called the Comrades Marathon.
Welcome to the wild world of sports, the podcast where three friends sit down, crack a couple beers, and go on a journey to figure out the wildest story in the history of sports. My name is James Whybrow.
James's brother Ben, no relation.
And I'm the man with no name. You can find out later, maybe. We'll see.
And you're
Carlin, by the way. Anyway.
You're the story man today.
I am the story man today.
And our story begins. I can't remember what it was.
The host with the most.
Yeah.
The hostess with the mostest.
Yeah. Okay, where's our story begin?
Our story begins in South Africa in apartheid. The actual story kind of happens after, but it is important because there are elements of the story here. So I will just quickly, thanks Google AI, this is just a quick breakdown of what apartheid is for anyone who's listening that just has no idea. Apartheid was a system of institutionalized racial segregation and discrimination in South Africa enforced by the white minority government from 1948 to 1994. It involved the systematic separation and oppression of black Africans and other non-white groups who were subjected to unequal laws, social restrictions, and economic exploitation. Sums it up very quickly in a quick little paragraph there, but the important thing to know here is very spicy country, so to speak.
Still is.
Still is a spicy country. The next little bit of background I'd like to bring up is the Comrades Marathon itself. So it's actually an ultramarathon. Do you know what an ultramarathon is? Because I didn't until the list.
Is an ultramarathon classified as anything more than 50 kilometers?
Okay, I actually didn't look up the specific definition. I probably should have done that. But
it's over 50, I know that, or at least 50.
Yeah, because a marathon's 42.2?
6? No,
42.2 something.
Yeah.
So
26 miles.
Yeah, this is kilometers.
The ultra marathon and the Comrades Marathon goes for, it's 88.9 kilometers, as far as I'm aware.
That's a long way.
It's a long way. And not only is it a long way, so the run is hosted in the KwaZulu-Natal province, and it's an annual run that happens from Durban to Pietermaritzburg. But I say that too. It's not always from Durban to Pietermaritzburg. Every second year, so it happens annually, every second year it switches from like where the start and end goes, right?
You run there 1 year, you stay there for a year, and then you run back the next.
Exactly right. You're training there in Pietermaritzburg, and then off you go back the other way. But no, they call it the up and down run is the change of it, because Durban, which is it did begin in Durban, as far as I know. The first one was from Durban to Pietermaritzburg. Durban has an elevation of 101 meters. Pietermaritzburg has an elevation of 921 meters. So that's almost a kilometer of elevation difference already in these places. We're not talking about even running the 88.9 kilometers between them. So you can start to imagine that it's not an easy ultramarathon. It's not running across a plateau. No, it's a tricky marathon.
Are we at levels of altitude changing where the air gets thinner?
I don't think so, because Canberra's somewhere like 800, 900 meters in the air.
Is there a lot of altitude change during the run? Because I'm thinking going up 10 meters every 880 is not a huge incline.
Look, I don't think the altitude, like oxygen-wise, is an issue. But yes, notoriously, the run is very hilly, and it's not an easy marathon. Like, it's an ultra marathon, it's longer.
Because all marathons are a walk in the park.
Yeah, normally. Absolutely. As someone who, typically runs marathons, James, you can say walk in the park for you. Yeah, so there's the up and the down runs, and that's just from, if it's going the elevation from Durban to Pietermaritzburg. I feel like I got that right. Did I get that right with that reading? Yeah, I did. That's not bad. Yeah, but we'll be focusing on a up run in our story. That being said, there is more than one that comes up, I suppose. It is also one of the world's oldest and most prestigious marathons in the world. So it was set up in 1921. It's quite a long time ago. So lots of people have been running this marathon. It's a big marathon. Another fun thing I actually found as well about it was in 1940 was when they first used a rooster crowing instead of a start gun. Not quite sure how, I didn't do much more research into this because I was thinking, it just said that they do that to this day.
I didn't know there was a way to time a rooster crowing.
This is what I'm saying. Do you poke
isn't
it?
I remember going to high school and there was some roosters on the path down there and it would go off same time every morning pretty well and you knew you were running late.
Well, that was after dawn, surely.
Yeah, maybe it had to wake up.
Okay, this is opening
snooze our alarms a few times. Maybe a rooster does the same thing.
First I was thinking, how do they make the rooster crow? But I'm like, no, maybe they don't. Maybe they just wait until a particular time of day where it probably will crow. Maybe they're just waiting on the rooster's, behest for it to crow for the race to start. That'd be so weird.
Maybe put the gun to the rooster's head and force it.
Maybe. But not entirely important for our story, as wild as that may be. It's in the 1960s and 70s that things started getting a little bit spicier. So the race has been going on for decades at this stage, but it really started getting international attention. People were like, okay, I want to go travel, do this marathon. Problem being, as we brought up earlier, this race is held in South Africa, which from 1948 to 1994 was under apartheid government, which had a big problem for sporting people from this region. South Africa, for a lot of that time, was banned from the Olympics, the World Cup, and stuff like that. Sort of like how Russia's,
Right.
Can't come to the World Cup sort of thing. No, we don't like your apartheid government. They're very controversial. So they weren't allowed to go to big sporting events. So this marathon became really huge in that time in South Africa. It was already big and it was getting internationally famous, but this marathon kept going throughout all of apartheid and then after. So it was huge to South Africans, still is. I've already explained the up and down variants, but to explain as well, right after Nelson Mandela had just handed on the presidency, so it's 1999 is where our story takes place for the most part. So for those, again, who are not well-versed in South African history, which honestly I can't say I'm actually that well-versed. I know bits and pieces, but a layman's story is Nelson Mandela was a guy who was put in prison. Eventually the South African apartheid government fell and he became the first president of a non-apartheid South Africa.
Did you use Google AI to get that one?
This is coming from my own brain because I'm actually
dangerous.
a South African expert.
Dangerous.
Maybe that's the Mandela effect right there.
Oh.
What did it come from? Is it from Nelson Mandela? Is it from someone else called Mandela?
I think, again, we need Google AI to help us here, but that people thought Nelson Mandela had died in prison when he hadn't. And people remember reading articles and seeing a bunch of stuff. And he never died and he was alive and he was president. And that's where it became Mandela effect because he was the biggest or popularized. He didn't popularize it, but his account was.
Google AI is telling us exactly that.
Get in.
The term Mandela effect originates from a paranormal researcher, Fiona Broom's observation that many people shared a false memory of Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s. While he did spend time in prison, he was obviously released and lived until 2013, became president after being released. Yes, but no.
I'd be a bit sorry. What was that researcher's name? To keep us derailed for a minute.
Well, this is according to Google AI, so if we're trusting it, Fiona Broom.
I'd be dirty if I was Fiona Broom. Look at this effect that I've sort of coined and brought to the world.
It's
the Broom
effect.
They've just swept it under the rug.
Yeah. I thought it used to be called the Broom effect.
Well, I'm scrolling down through the AI, debrief, and there's coining the term. Broom then created a website to document this phenomenon, calling it the Mandela effect. So, hey, if she went off and made a website and did it, that's all on her. She's got a lasting legacy. We're talking about her on Wild Blood of Sports. It's the largest wild sports story podcast in the Southern Hemisphere.
Yeah.
As far as I'm aware.
Congratulations, Fiona.
We've covered some backstory. We can now talk about, and I apologize, I did try and find pronunciation for this. Totally failed. Anyway, our main protagonist, Sergio. That's easy. Last name, Motsoeneng. Let's hope that's right.
It's almost a bit of an Italian stang you've put on it.
Motsoeneng.
Could be Dutch. I know South Africa originally.
Yeah, it
Dutch
does.
Influence.
It gives me reading it, and you can have a look at his name, like Motsoeneng. A lot of the names that do come up in this story give off a Afrikaans sort of vibe. So, if again for our non-well-versed linguists in the listening community here, Afrikaans is effectively just Dutch. It was the Dutch settlers' language that they made when they went to South Africa in the first place.
But we're going to stick with Sergio for the story.
We're going to stick with Sergio. Sergio's an easy name, plus it's his first name.
And he's an Afrikaan.
So actually, well, I'll tell you where he's from. So
South Africa.
Well, yes. But he's from a particular part, which honestly, I will screw this up. I'm like looking at the word right now with horror. So yes, up steps our protagonist, runner number 13018. I just thought that would be fun to put in. That was his number in the story here.
That's a lot of runners, at least 13,000. Jeez.
Or do they...
Well, I was thinking that. When I put that down too, I was just like, entirely... I actually think it may be that many runners. Like, this is a big race. Like, lots of people do this race. Do most people finish it? No. But it is a big race.
Or maybe you put them in classes like 0 to 10,000 to amateurs, 10 to 20,000 to professionals, and something like that maybe.
I should have done more research. Not entirely sure. Not entirely sure how many people participate in this race, but it's a lot. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it was like 20,000 people running this race. Like, people come from all around the world just to run it. But from our protagonist here, he hails from Putaditjahaba.
I'm glad you tempered our expectations before going into that.
You can look at it.
It sounds like Huttese.
Can't read that. Honestly,
Huttese.
I don't know.
You know, Java the Hutt. Yeah, Huttese, that language.
It could be Huttese
to all of our South African listeners.
No, not the actual South African. Carlin's attempt at it.
Yeah.
Sounds like Huttese.
Putaditjahaba. You're right, it does. The important thing that I'll go from here is this region, very poor. As you can imagine, most of South Africa is at this state. Or if you can't really imagine, let's imagine a white minority government handing over power, and they're basically broke at this stage. Like, things are not looking great for South Africa. But the good thing is apartheid's over. But there is big wealth disparities, big problems in the country. This region, not so good. So this place where they lived was near the Lesotho border, very poor region. But our runner Sergio made the most of his life. He had 9 other siblings. And he ran a lot. He ran a heck of a lot. Went to a lot of marathons around his region. I'm going to speak Huttese, but around Tatooine.
His region.
Around the border of Lesotho. He ran a lot of marathons. But the problem for him was, obviously, these marathons, you're not winning huge cash prizes. It's like you get a little plastic trophy and stuff. So he's a good, accomplished runner in his early years, but he doesn't really have the outlet for it at this stage. So it's a down year this year. So in our story, we're going from Durban to Pietermaritzburg, and Sergio, our protagonist. So actually, I'll give a bit more backstory about the actual competition itself. So after apartheid had ended, the competition remained. So it was still this prestigious part of like South Africa that they were pretty proud of, had invited people over to come do. It was still really important in their like culture. This marathon was massive. I guess as like Tour de France would be and stuff. So like it's like big to them. First prize at this stage, right after apartheid, like it got real cashed up right after that. Like lots of international backers and everything, sponsors. First prize wins about 16,000 USD. That's translated. So that about 16,000 today is what you would be winning back then. It's in whatever the South African rand or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's rand.
But yeah, so it's 16,000 USD is the equivalent of what you'd win, which as well, 16,000 USD would be about equivalent to 70 years of Sergio's father's salary.
God damn.
So for Sergio, this is a lot of money. For a lot of people in South Africa, this is a lot of money.
Do you have what Sergio's father did?
No, I actually don't know what he did. I do know that he was kind of a deadbeat dad. He was telling, so he had 9 siblings. His brother Arnold will come into the story too a little bit, which actually I have an interesting note, which I will jump back on that I haven't elaborated yet.
Ooh.
Yeah, so his dad's kind of a deadbeat dad that was telling them from the get-go, oh, I'm sick of your stupid running. Stop running, you silly boys, and you're running. And then it did change a little bit once something later in the story happens, but...
He sounds like a good antagonist for the first act of this movie.
You're
This
right.
is a movie. This is a 5-act structure.
Honestly, like, because coming, like, I had a, like, there was a movie made of the last story I did. I didn't actually check to see if there was a movie made on this story. There totally should be. It would make a really good story.
You're just out here on Netflix going, oh, I'll just steal this movie. That'll be a great Wild World sports story.
Yeah. Well, okay. No, that's a perfect segue, which we'll jump back into this. How I found out about this story, which we'll come back into this story a little bit later. So I said this off camera to you boys before, but the story is very confusing. Very confusing. It does kind of come back into apartheid Africa again. It's partly confusing because of like after this whole event happens, like there's lots of finger pointing and no, you're colored, like no, you couldn't have, and blah blah blah, and this and that, and like it's all just a big mess and lots of blaming and shaming and so the way I know about this story is about it's a story about twins. It's actually not twins. So Sergio doesn't have a twin. He does have a younger brother called Arnold, 2 years younger. They were called twins, like jokingly at school sometimes because they looked a lot alike, not identical, but they look similar, as some brothers do. Looking at the two brothers in the room.
I've never seen it.
Well, to be fair, you're not related, so
No
relation.
yeah.
Jeez.
Never riff.
But yes, so the way I heard about the story was actually, I guess, one of the sort of tabloid stories that got out. So this story kind of morphed like into this all sorts of different tales of how it happened and what happened and everything, and it's a little bit confusing. So confusing to the point that I don't have all the clear answers, but I think I have clear enough of the answers. So a lot of the sources I'm going on was this reporter that's like gone back and like talked to the actual people and stuff and interviewed both of them and everything, and just tried to uncover what's going on because it's just a mess. It's a total mess. So yeah, how I discovered this story was basically one of the tabloid sort of twists on how it is. So they're not twins. There is a brother called Arnold as well as Sergio. So Arnold's 2 years younger than Sergio. Arnold is good at running as well. He ran a lot of races with Sergio back in their home. I'm not going to bring it up again. Back on Tatooine, back on their home planet. They did run a lot of races there, but Sergio was the runner. Like Arnold just sort of did it as well. But we carry on. So him and his brother Arnold did dream of the winning the Comrades Marathon because it is like 1921 is when it started. Like it's something in South Africa, especially during those times of apartheid, that like this is the sporting event that they want to win. Like
If
they
you're
want
a
to run.
runner.
Yeah, and this is it, because like this is like the biggest, most international sporting event that they had going for a really long time. So they were running around trying to win all their races, trying to eventually dream of running this race. As they were running their races when they were younger, so at this stage, Sergio was 15, Arnold would have been 13. A lot of the races that they ran against that were really good, they noticed were coached by a fellow called Eugene Botha, Botha. Don't know if I'm saying that right. Definitely saying Eugene fine.
Yeah, I can confirm that.
Well, who knows? Maybe it's Eugen there. It's not. It's Eugene. So eventually they decided, all right, let's find out who this guy is. Let's enlist him. We want his help. Like, all these runners are really good, and they all happen to have the same coach. They eventually talked to Eugene, which Eugene, interestingly, now runs a fire extinguisher business around South Africa. Yeah, so he just, like, I don't know, I guess provides fire extinguishers or something. It's not entirely clear. He has a pretty boring job. But on the side, like, so Eugene used to be a professional marathon runner as well, and he's run in the Comrades Marathon too. I don't believe he placed, because that's a pretty big deal. I think that would have come up.
I had a fire and I needed someone to come quickly to put it out.
Oh,
a marathon
yeah,
runner.
Honestly, that's a great catch line for the business.
Well, it depends how
imagining-
far away you are.
Yeah, I'm also imagining the
Africa's a big country.
the infrastructure
Big-
at the
big
time.
continent.
you know?
Yeah. Well, if I'm 100 meters away, I don't want a marathon runner bringing me a fire extinguisher. I want Usain Bolt or Noah Lyles bringing me a fire extinguisher.
No, because they'd peter out after 100 meters and then not
But
make
I'm exactly 100 meters away. Usain Bolt does
you're
400
exactly
as
100
well.
meters away.
No,
Sorry,
you'd want to be
okay.
like 120 from then, though, because they got that whole time to cool down. If he's coming at you at full speed.
No, but
on
then
the
think
fire
about it too. The
extinguisher.
marathon runner's going to make it there to you, and like Usain Bolt's going to run his 100 meters, and he's flat after that. He's not ready to fight a fire. But these marathon runners make it to you, and if it's only 100 meters away, well, okay, yeah, sorry, it's not going to be 8 point whatever seconds for you, James, but
9.63.
they'll make it there. They'll make it there before the house burns down with the fire extinguishers, and you know what? They've got the gas in the tank to help you fight that fire.
All right, you've talked me into it. Eugene can help me out.
Eugene sounds actually from
Sounds
this
like we
story.
need to order one for the set.
Well, sounds like I'll add it to the list. We need the wine from Carlos Raposo, episode 1. We need Eugene's fire extinguisher. We need an Eddie Goodell signed piece of memorabilia that is extremely rare.
More expensive than Babe Ruth's.
Yeah, and I'll figure out a way to get something from 1390 for our jousting story.
Maybe a little fragment of helmet or something. Just
Yeah.
claim it. Who knows? Anyway, so this Eugene guy, actually pretty cool guy. Yeah, they enlist his help. Sergio at the time, 15. So Eugene as his side hustle, not only does he sell fire extinguishers, his side hustle, he was coaching high school runners and whatnot. So perfect for them. They were in high school. They were good runners, and they contacted him, and he started coaching them. Eugene knew that they were really good. He'd gone to their region, he'd met with them, and had them train a few times. And he knew, he saw their talent, and he went like, these guys are good. But did he know, like, is he like, are they one of the best? He's like, he's not sure, but he's like, but there's something special here. So he knew these guys were special, especially Sergio, I might add.
Some serious potential.
Serious potential. So it's showing. But now the thing is, as I was saying before, Sergio and Arnold have grown up dreaming of going into the Comrades Marathon. But the thing is, this is now some cashed up, huge marathon. The marathons they were running, they were winning them, but like, what did you get? And they weren't doing so well. Like we said, first prize in the Comrades Marathon was 70 times their father's salary. So they were still justifiably dreaming, like, we want to run this marathon. And they were saying this to Eugene. They're like, Eugene, we're ready. We want to go. We want to go run the marathon.
I think I've got an
The
idea how
ultramarathon.
this story's going to play out.
I'll
I'll keep it to myself, but I think I've got an
Does it
idea.
I
involve
wanna know,
fire
I'm
extinguishers
excited.
strapped to runners' backs?
No, it doesn't.
Oh, okay, that's what I was thinking. But I will tell you though, you see in shows or whatever that they set off the fire extinguisher in the chair and it pushes them all back.
Yeah.
It's not really that powerful.
You've tried?
Yeah. I don't want to divulge exactly how, because you really shouldn't be setting off fire extinguishers unless there's a fire.
No, you were sitting on a chair and there was a fire in front of you and you just acted quickly.
Yeah, exactly. I'd run there really quick, 100 meters away, and I still had the energy, because I'm not a sprinter, to put out the fire. And I just sat in the chair and shot myself. Well, I didn't shoot myself back.
Oh, you sat in the chair because you had so much energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sergio and Arnold are like, come on, Eugene, we can run it. We can do it. Like, have us running. And Eugene keeps telling him, he's like, just don't do it to yourself. Like, I've run it before. Like, you know, it's not good on your body. He's like, you've got real potential. Like, let's work our way up to it. We'll get there. They didn't do it immediately. So 15 years of age, Sergio did not run this marathon. But he trained with Eugene, and he's kept going for a while. But then him and Arnold, so Sergio and Arnold, decide eventually, they say, okay, look, screw Eugene. We're running this marathon. We're going to do it. And they collude together on a bit of a plan. And this is where everything starts to get really hazy, even after the matter of going back and interviewing them and everything, and then all the tablets and everything. It's a bit confusing from this stage on. It's like all this stuff before, clear and cut. Everything beyond this, it's clear enough. Like, there are certain glutes that are clear. Anyway.
Can I take a stab and we can always just cut it out?
Yeah.
If I'm right?
Yeah, go for it.
I was thinking that as well, but I was going to spoil it.
So, no, well, that's great. It's great you're thinking that. Who knows? Who knows how the story's going to go? But no, they decide together, all right, when Sergio's 21, we're going to run this marathon. But they want to win it. They don't want to run it. They want to win it. They're like, screw what Eugene has to say. We're going to run the race. Sergio does a fantastic job in his 1999 race. So Sergio places 9th out of, who knows, 20,000. No, anyway, but top 10, big deal. So top 10, you win a prize. So 9th place, not quite the prize Sergio was hoping for. It's $1,000 USD in today's money. So for them, that's pretty good. Like, it's something. It's not the $16,000, which I say $16,000 before. There seemed to be some other prize as well to do with sponsorships and stuff. I don't know. There's a lot of money
That's
to
still
be
like
made.
3 to 4 years of his dad's salary, though.
Oh yeah,
in one bump.
So
That's pretty good.
it's big. So he's won $1,000 for coming in 9th. To put it at that, he's then gone to like the after parties and stuff. They're all celebrating and everything, but something seems off. Sergio just doesn't seem himself. He's sort of like. It all doesn't feel right. But he goes back to his hometown. They all celebrate him as a hero and everything. It's like he's finished 9th. It's big on the news. Like, no one's ever heard of him. So it's making waves. And they're going, who is this guy that's finished 9th? And they're trying to work this out. And as they're trying to work it out, I don't actually know the time frame of this. There are people that were suspicious immediately. So some people that ran the race were immediately like, what? Like, real frustrated, because they're like, no way, like, I know this guy, like, passed me, like, I passed this guy at this stage, and he has, like, this marker, and then all of a sudden, he wins the race 8 minutes ahead of me. Like, well, not wins it, but he finishes the race 8 minutes ahead of me, and it's not adding up to a lot of the contestants who are going, no, like I didn't see him pass me, and blah, 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 and they're all a bit confused, understandably so. And eventually it comes out, Eugene gets a call from a newspaper, and they say, do you know Sergio Motsoeneng? And then he's like, yeah, of course I know him. Like, I trained him, blah, 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 this and that. Like, do you know if he has a brother? And he said, yes, I do know he has a brother. And they're like, okay, could you tell him and his brother apart? And he said, of course I could tell him and his brother apart. And so they show him 2 photographs. And I can actually get the photograph up for you now.
Sounds like Eugene has a chance to put this fire out.
You say that. Let's look at the photograph. So this is hard for the viewer. I don't know how we can show this to them.
We'll put it in post.
Yeah,
give it a link.
Go to Wild World of Sports on all the socials that you use, excluding Google+. We're not there yet.
It's a famous photo. So I'm going to show it to both of you, and you tell me, what do you see? What do you notice?
Well, I'm looking at 2 thin black African runners wearing very
Why
similar
does race have
clothes.
to come into it? No, I'm kidding.
One of them's legs look more muscular than the other. Maybe that's just the angle that it's been taking at. But one of them does look more, like slightly more muscular.
Do you notice anything,
Than
Ben?
the
Do you
other?
want to have a look?
It's-
There's a thing in particular that is quite famous from this story, and it's what's undone them. So in this photo is what's been plastered across all of the different tabloids. It's the smoking gun is the thing I'll tell you about, but the muscular legs does actually come into it. People with a keener eye did notice that too, and that's when it'll like start to fall apart. But
Okay, I've got an idea. Hang on. Can
what
I
are
see it?
you spotting, Ben?
Very similar. Yeah, the muscle definition of the photo on the left.
What if I guide you guys a little bit?
Yeah.
Do you both want to have a look again at their wrists?
Ooh. I thought you were going to say like...
I see it. Yep, straight away. I'll pass it over so James
okay.
can
I
have a
thought you
look.
were going to say one of them has like a giant penis or something, and I missed
How
that.
did
and
you
it's like-
know?
Of course you're
Look at his
looking.
wrist. He's got his giant penis.
Yes.
Okay, no.
I'm seeing the wrist. One of them's wearing what looks, it's hard to see in the photo, a watch of some
Clearly
sort
an
or
Apple
a band.
Watch, and he's a time traveler.
And then
No,
the other
okay.
one's not. But he
band.
does have a
Tan line.
there. So it's
You
not...
could maybe you get an irritation from it rubbing on your arm.
Yeah, I think it's plausible that you decide
There
to take it
is
off.
some plausible deniability there.
But apart from that, all the
being
clothes
said-
and everything look exactly the same.
So this is the famous photo, and the thing that someone spotted, which first brought it up, was, as you may have noticed just then, one of the runners in these photos is wearing a watch, and the other runner is not, which is a little bit odd. But that being said, there were other odd things, of course, that then unraveled it. But that was the first thing that was noticed. So that's the famous thing, is they've spotted the watch. But like you say, it's pretty obvious when you look at it that one of them has quite defined legs, one of them has not so defined legs. That being said, like realistically, try and look at their faces. It's hard because the cap's like bending down. It's hard to see their faces, but they look pretty similar. So
I'm thinking as well, if that first photo's taken 10 Ks in, the other one's 80 Ks in, my legs are going to be swollen. My whole body's going to be aching. I'm going to look a bit different than I did at the start of the race versus the end of the race.
that's actually super interesting you bring that up, Benjamin, because later on, some of the people that brought light to it and were like, hang on, no, this doesn't seem right, were some of the contestants. And they were saying, like, when they saw him cross over the finish line and stuff, they're like, it doesn't make sense. Like, weird, it's kind of weirdly put here, but like his muscles don't look like, he's run 88.9 kilometers, which, look, it sounds weird saying that, but I think you could imagine, like, whether it's the exact look of the muscles or how the person carries themselves or something, but like this guy doesn't look like he's run 88.9 kilometers.
Yeah,
And they're-
I imagine there's a huge difference in physical output of, like, you can see it in someone that's run a 10-kilometer race and someone that's done a full marathon. Like the fatigue on them, the way their muscles are, like the coloration of the skin.
I imagine it's really hard to feel that muscular pain of running a marathon or an ultra marathon and then trying to pretend like you have the same fatigue. I feel like it's just not a natural thing because your body's stretched to its limits or put to its limits.
Running an ultra marathon, you must be dead. So he must have been like, of just running, I guess, a marathon per se, as, not looking dead. Very suspicious. So lots of people had doubts. And in fact, this person didn't have doubts, but it was like one of the trainers or something that was related to like their team. But they went in on it. So Sergio and Arnold were in on this plan, which you definitely didn't guess just before. Sergio is going to hop into the toilet. Or actually, no, so other way around. So Arnold actually ran the first leg of the race. And then he hops in the toilet, and then they change clothes. So he puts his bib on and everything. But as they're doing that in the toilet, one of the trainers, like in their team, or I guess from their running club, because it's a big running club and blah, 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 and they're supporting all their players and their runners. One of their trainers comes up and is like, "Oh yeah, Arnold, I've got your energy drinks, and he's like, hurry up, in the toilet." And he's waiting for him to come out, and they're paralyzed. The brothers, they're sitting there in the portaloo, being like, "Oh, I don't want to swear on podcast, but that's what I'd be thinking if I were them."
Dumb.
So I don't know. I don't know exactly what they said. I mean, I'm thinking if I were them, I would have been like, I'm sorry, man. It's coming out both ends. Oh, God, give me like 10 minutes.
I've just run a marathon. I got to do another one.
Yeah, and I got to do another one. I need just a second or something. And eventually the guy's like, okay, whatever. He leaves the energy drinks outside the toilets and he leaves. And Sergio hops out wearing the clothes that Arnold started the race in. And
Pretty
Arnold
gross.
does wait a little bit to hop out of the toilet. He kind of like stays there, but he doesn't want to blow it. That doesn't get blown. So they don't get caught at the toilets. Very nearly did. But now that the plan has unfolded here and we know what they were doing, so they were colluding to run half a marathon each and win.
A full marathon each, more than a full marathon.
Oh, sorry. Yes, sorry. Half an ultra marathon each.
How would it feel? That'd be embarrassing. You'd really not want to get caught if you won, because obviously you win and that'd be more prominent. But you really don't want to get caught losing and cheating. Like, you cheated. You ran half the distance to everyone else and you still didn't win. That's even more embarrassing than winning.
But
it.
maybe you hold yourself back to, because it's going to look suspicious for a brand new person to win. So if you come ninth and you're getting the cash,
Well, it's sort of like in The Incredibles at the end where Dash is running the race and like, oh, make it close. Don't beat anyone.
Yeah, exactly.
To be honest, like I don't. It doesn't give the vibe. Like I think they were both trying full pelt for both their runs, as far as I can tell from the story. I don't think there was any Dash slowing down to not win first sort of arrangement. Like, I don't think it was that cheeky. They literally just were planning, like, we are living in poverty. We want to win this race. There's a lot of money. We want to get into it. Let's do half each. I don't know. Maybe it was a way to honor Eugene's wishes and not run the ultramarathon. Who knows? Like, but it's interesting you bring up some of these controversies because I've got a quote here. So it's been an embarrassing year all round for the CMA. In addition to Sergio, 2 other runners in the top 10 had been disqualified, both for doping. The winners' tables keep shifting and prize money keeps getting returned. So there is, like, as in many sports, lots of doping issues and stuff, and there's, it's a big event, prize money's to be had. There's going to be some cheating. The problem as well for this competition is they want to maintain legitimacy after the end of apartheid and grow and become something bigger. But it was hampered by a lot of scandals. This will come up again in a little bit. Now, this is something I was trying to touch on before, but it's just ultra confusing, and I'm just going to mention it now. So Arnold, younger brother, entered in 1998, so the year before this whole thing happened, and ran half of the ultramarathon and dropped out. Very suspicious. I suppose they were planning to do this maybe, so maybe, I don't know. I guess that was the idea. It was like,
I'll check I can do half under these.
The thing that doesn't quite make sense though, because if he'd done it the year before and it's down and up variance each year,
He's done the wrong side.
he's done the wrong side.
Maybe he's just looking for the turnover point. Is there a good spot in the middle? What's the facilities like? What's the security like? Maybe
That's true.
That kind of thing.
Just sort of casing it. They've clearly not planned it very well, because I don't know, we're thinking more about it right now. Anyway, so they get to the end of it. It's finished 9th. Don't exactly know the time frame for how this comes out, but eventually tabloids start plastering things across and laying blame and so on and so forth. Showing that photo I showed you of the 2 runners and just speculating on how they've been cheating and this and that. And there's a lot of sort of racist talk just around that as well. It's like, and this, like, these are the people you're handing over the country to and stuff, one tabloid said. So it was all, this is where it starts getting really messy and confusing and accusatory and complicated. So after they've been caught out for this, they lose their $1,000 prize pool. They'd already spent the money. So it's happened a little bit after, but like it was sort of building and building and building. And they're in hot water. Like, what are they going to do? All these tabloids are plastering this stuff across going, these guys cheated. And so this as well, actually, to bring up the thing I brought up at the start, is I had heard about this story as the twins that cheated this marathon, blah, blah, blah. They're not twins. So that was like one of the tabloid things that was commonly misportrayed. And then there were some other things about how they cheated. So some tabloids were claiming they like did it multiple times throughout the race, and then as well had a car that drove them to the end and stuff. None of that seems to be true. As far as I can gather from what I've looked at, it seems that they planned that Arnold would run the first half of the race and Sergio would finish it. And that seems to be what happened, as far as I can gather.
Do you think they flipped a coin to decide who gets to cross
don't
over the
think so.
line?
No, I think you planned the older brother would be the one to
so
finish.
that did actually
Because the older brother's always the better brother. Is that what you're saying?
No,
just probably add an air to legitimacy.
But the older brother is normally the better brother. Right?
Like I said earlier, Sergio is the better runner. So as well,
Better brother.
when we were looking at the photos, the muscular legs, those were Sergio's.
Knew
So
it.
Sergio was the better runner. Like he was through and through a way better runner than Arnold was. But Arnold was still a good runner.
I guess if you're pacing yourself for an 89K run, someone who's only doing a 42 or 44K run, you can probably keep pace because you're going half the distance.
That makes me think that Sergio should have been the first runner. Because if he's a better runner, you'd expect someone to be a better runner at the start of an ultramarathon
But you don't
than
want
the end.
to. You don't want to run the first half and then like get right to the front or something, or near the front, and be right in the center of attention when you swap out in the toilets. You probably want to be behind a little bit for your brother to clutch it through, right?
Or
Yeah.
what might be better is you do the first quarter. Then Arnold does the second and third quarter. So you start and finish it, and then you get seen at both ends. That's what I would have done. But I don't know.
Okay.
Is there a rest
To be
stop
honest,
in between?
That may be what they had done. According to the story that they tell, which seems to be the most plausible, is that they swapped to halfway and that's it. And they both ran a marathon each.
I just want to jump back in. I wouldn't cheat in an ultramarathon. I wouldn't do an ultramarathon to cheat in.
That's honourable of you, Ben.
Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
I don't think anyone believed you and I, Ben. We're going to run an ultramarathon, both run a marathon each.
No, well, if we had us and our wider friend groups, how many people would you all need to get like full head shave, body shave to do this run and do it in segments?
Do an ultramarathon. Well,
Like
realistically,
10, 8Ks each.
James, you could do a marathon, right?
yeah. Well, I have run one marathon before. Wouldn't recommend it.
Do you want to go first or second?
I'd want to go.
You want to finish it. You want
Yeah,
to
you wanna be the
I
finisher.
want to be
You
the one to finish,
glory.
of course. But realistically, you could probably get away with two people if, say, one of them is me that ran a
We're
marathon.
not trying to trick anyone. We're just trying to work out like how many
many?
of our friends would we need. It depends which friends you pick.
Yeah.
I'm saying we need 11 people, 8Ks each. If there's a lot of elevation change, very hilly.
But I mean, looking at for us three, I don't think it would be possible. Carlin's got a bum ACL, just had surgery. Ben's got heart issues, not a great runner, and I don't like running.
Am I
Don't
bad
like
running?
running. Says the
That's
man.
why you're not a great
Okay,
runner,
I
because
thought you
of
were
the
gonna
heart
say
issues.
You got a
It
heart
doesn't.
problem and you're crap at running.
No. Sorry. Conjoined. No comma between. And I don't like running.
There's nothing wrong with running 5Ks and having your heart rate over 200 the whole time.
Yeah.
Any doctors listening, please get in contact.
It's called like
disprove.
heart loading, I think. I think that's what the doctors call it.
Let's get this back on the rails. So they
Back on the rails.
They got
So
caught.
they've been caught, and the fallout is coming down. It is not looking so crash hot for them. So these two aspiring runners, mainly one, Sergio, careers are in the mud because at this stage they're looking at bans. They're looking at having to pay back the money that they've already spent. So actually, so to quickly rewind, not that it's super important, but they won 1,000 USD back in 1999. That's a lot of money for some rural South Africans. They are living it up. So Sergio bought some new shoes. He bought groceries for the family for a couple of weeks and stuff and this and that. They've done well for themselves and spent all the money. Now they've got to give the money back and they don't know what to do. I'm not exactly sure how they met this man from the story, but the next man that comes into our story is this man called Clem. He's a lawyer.
What's his last name? You've been so good at them this
I
episode.
only wrote Clem for this one.
Must have been really bad if you didn't even try to write his last name.
I actually don't think it was that bad. I think I just wrote Clem and then went, I should probably put his profession down. And so I've written in brackets here, lawyer, instead of putting a last name. But
Maybe he has a whole lineage of lawyers. You know, like people named Smith, their family history is blacksmith or baker or something like that. Maybe
Clem
his
lawyer.
We'll
go with he was Clem lawyer. And Clem, for them, for all he's worth, seems to be a fairly lovely man. And in fact, I actually have a photo of Sergio, Eugene, and Clem. So do we remember who Eugene is?
Yes, he's a
running
fire
coach.
extinguisher. No, running coach. Fire extinguisher man.
So Eugene is the one on the left, and then there's Clem, and then there's Sergio.
For those that aren't seeing the photo, we'll also put this one on our socials, Wild World of Sports. Carlin didn't need to tell us which ones were which. It's pretty obvious which guy was the runner, which guy is the lawyer, and which guy is the fire extinguisher salesman.
You reckon? Okay.
Yeah, the fire extinguisher salesman, in my opinion, looks like he started a few of the fires with an errant cigarette.
Yeah.
It does look. What's that American show? I'm forgetting it now. Anyway,
I mean, the fire extinguisher salesman is just by default, it must be him because the runner's obvious and the lawyer's obvious. And there's only one other guy and one other position to fill.
yeah. Anyway, Clem, this lawyer, who comes and speaks to them, he brokers them a bit of a deal. He's like, look, we'll go on this one tabloid and we'll give an interview about what happened. You'll be really sorry. We're going to get paid a bit of money for doing that, about $1,000 USD. You pay back the money and then you're sweet. And it worked out well for him. So they managed to get off on this deal. Clem had, I don't exactly know the full specifics of the deal. I don't know if it's the same for both brothers. But at this stage, it doesn't quite matter because Arnold sort of stopped racing after that. So he was never really as big as Sergio was into the profession. And so he just sort of gave up after this because it was just, too much for him. Clem brokered the ban until 2009. So Sergio was able to start racing again in 2009 because it was his passion. Like, he was a good runner.
What's his age in 2009?
31.
Okay,
31.
Quick maths.
31.
31.
He was 21 in 1999, so
Yes, he's right. Yes.
I'm paying attention.
Oh, sorry.
I didn't even.
You added
I was
10.
thinking,
Ooh,
when was
I
the
paid
race
attention.
again? Ooh, but before I even get there, this guy, look at him slinging numbers out.
6.
Hey, private school pays for something. I guess he's really, really good at maths.
Wow, we're really outing Ben on this episode. Hard issues in private school.
So 2009, Sergio actually entered into the Comrades Marathon again.
And he wins it.
He does not.
Oh,
Not
that would have been
2009.
Sorry.
What?
But in 2010, he still doesn't.
Oh,
But
no.
He came third. That's pretty good.
That is pretty
2009 or
good.
2010?
In 2010.
Wow.
It's a great effort.
So 2009, he didn't make the top 10, but in 2010, he comes third. And for a little while, all the haters are silenced, and Sergio's lovers are like, yeah, like, this is what we told you. He's a great runner, blah, 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 blah. Awesome dude. He didn't need to cheat in the first place. Like, and they started talking about all this and that, blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah.
I imagine there's a long time to think running an ultra marathon. Getting there, being that far with a couple kilometers to go, seeing that you're in third place or whatever position he was at that time. I can just imagine in his head, like, man, if I just didn't cheat, how many more of these races could I have won? And
Or
could
if
I
he
have
has
won?
weight a
Imagine
little
being
bit,
in your
maybe.
physical prime, like 21, you're young and virile, but 25, 26 when you're at your physical peak. If he just trained well enough for that. But I'm thinking in these 10 years, how do I cheat better?
Yeah. Wait, so he legitimately ran it.
I've got 7 other
Oh, well,
siblings.
he ran it. He ran the whole way.
Don't.
Maybe not legitimately.
Ah.
Now, this is where it gets confusing again. So 6 weeks after the 2010 results have come out, the CMA, they announced that Sergio tested positive for norandrosterone and disqualified him from the placings. Sergio, after that, claims that he didn't cheat. He says, no, I didn't do it. And he points justifiably at a lot of these other scandals of, like I said, so the year that he came 9th, 1999, was a scandalous year for them already. As quoted, lots of people were caught for doping and etc. And that whole top 10 was just changing and changing and changing.
So I have a question about that. Was that 9th place after all the other disqualifications?
No,
Or-
it was 9th place,
so they got
just 9th place from the
bumped
end
up.
of the marathon. And then There were people that were disqualified above him and stuff, and people that were disqualified below him. But then they were disqualified because it eventually came out that they were cheating.
How long does it take to run this marathon? What are the times?
I could be totally wrong. I'm remembering a number from when I was researching this. I actually didn't write this down. It'd be nice to see the best record for the Comrades Marathon.
We can give you a minute.
I want to say I'm going to say 5 hours, 5 hours something. But that doesn't. That seems like
I'm going to take a guess. Here.
Comrades.
89 kilometers. If the world record for a marathon is it officially sub 2 now?
Okay, actually, yeah. So
Just over.
I was.
I'm going to say
on the money. It's around the 5 hour mark.
Okay, I was going to say 5:19:35.
You are very close. So the record for the men's in the Comrades Marathon is 5 hours and pretty much like it's 2 seconds off. 5 hours 14 minutes for men. 5 hours and 44. 6 seconds off. 5 hours and 45 minutes for the women. So
pretty impressive.
You were pretty close. You were actually, what did you say? 5 hours 19?
19:30.
So you're about 5 minutes.
5.5 minutes off. That's how long it takes to
insane.
get changed in the bathroom and have someone waiting outside.
That's pretty solid. So good guess. Yeah. So they did have a lot of problems, and Sergio's pointed out, like, no, it's BS, man. Like, I didn't cheat. And he claims to this day that he didn't cheat in that 2010 race. And he points in particular as well to Ludwig Mamabolo, who won in 2012. Winners never cheat. Well, this cheater, alleged, won in 2012 and lost the title to doping charges. I don't have what he had taken from the 2012 one, Ludwig, but, and this is what Sergio points to, is like, yeah, look, well, this guy got done for doping and he won it, and then they undid it 2 years later. So in 2014, they're like, oh, actually, never mind, we undo it. So for Ludwig, allegedly is something that you could slip into someone's drink bottle.
Ooh.
So for Ludwig, there's some plausible deniability there. Maybe that's how he got off on it. From the research I've done, it doesn't look so good for Sergio. The drug that he's been pulled up on, whether he actually took it or not, is something you would have to inject. So it seems pretty unlikely that it had just been detected and it was like a mistake or who knows what. Like, he would have had to inject something to be able to test positive for that in his 2010 race. That being said, it's really confusing. Like, it's mired in controversy and just confusion. So it's like, we can't tell for certain if he really did cheat or not.
So to this day, he still denies cheating.
To this day, he still denies cheating. And in fact, maybe the better case for it. So, like I was saying, some of these sources were difficult, but one of the reporters I was looking at his story of, he went out and interviewed the brothers so many years after, and talking to the brothers, like he can't, like the reporter was saying, he can't necessarily believe Sergio, but then there's Arnold, his younger brother, and Arnold, his younger brother, who is for reasons way more trustworthy than Sergio in some things, like, very like honest, and the reporter had picked that up. He was fervently claiming that no, there's no reason Sergio would have cheated. So Arnold either was unaware of how Sergio cheated in the 2010 race, or is a really good liar, maybe.
Or he didn't cheat.
Or he didn't cheat.
So did Sergio do a counterpoint of like, oh, I was, misjudged, or they added this drug to my urine sample or something?
He didn't give enough evidence. He basically said to the reporter and such, when he asked him about it, he was like, look, there's this scandal, there's this scandal, there's this scandal. And he's like, it's all total BS. Like, they're just they're out to get us. And blah,
they're
blah,
picking
blah,
and
blah.
choosing a winner.
Yeah. So it's like, that's Sergio's claim. He explained several different reasons how it could have happened, what happened to him. But from the reporter that was investigating it, he doesn't fully believe it because it's just a little bit unclear. But that being said, unless it was not something that was accidentally happened, if it was something that it wasn't a mistake in testing or someone's trying to slip someone something, if it was literally the organization just going, no, we're going to cover this up and make up a lie or something, which is actually plausible, then that's that is what happened.
I guess you lose the benefit of the doubt when you've been caught cheating previously.
And that's the thing, which is funny you mentioned that again as well. So now Sergio is a teacher in a school. He lives a modest enough lifestyle, drives a Mercedes apparently. And yeah, no, it's really interesting because he works in a school. I don't know if he is a PE teacher, but he definitely runs like some PE lessons and stuff from what the story was saying. So the reporter wanted to go and so he'd gone around his hometown and seen a whole bunch of stuff and they'd taken him through everything. But he's like, oh, like, can I come see like where you work and your school? And he's like, yeah. So he was like, I hear enough from like the stuff at work about all of that. It's like, I don't want to remind them about the 1999 race and everything and why I'm doing this interview and everything. And then he said that as well. It's like, because like I already catch enough like lip from the tricky kids in my classes who say, why should I listen to you? You're a cheater. Like, yeah. So it's all pretty funny.
Still following him.
Seems like a pretty genuine man. But that does pretty much wrap up our story of Sergio Motsoeneng. Caught out for cheating twice. Made it through it all. Not entirely clear. Pretty wild story we're feeling, boys.
Well, how about we stop for our last break, and when we come back, we will be pulling out the wild mild board, and we'll be ranking where this story fits in our rankings.
Welcome back to the wild world of sports. If you're new to the pod, this is the part where we attempt to rank the wild story that we've just heard on our quest to find the wildest story of all time. Carlin, just give us the short elevator pitch.
Like, to sum it up in a sentence or two, we've got impoverished runner schemes to win race with his similar-looking brother, comes ninth, gets caught, goes back, comes third, gets caught for doping, more or less.
That's sort of it. So I don't know about you guys, but it's definitely not Eddie Goodell. Eddie Goodell, I think, is still number one after this.
It's not Eddie Goodell. I think you're right. I think Eddie Goodell is sitting firmly and maybe ironically quite high up.
Spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen that episode.
And then I think Raposo is still beating it, still above Carlos.
Look,
he's sort of just above the
this
halfway.
is where it starts getting tricky. Is when we start looking at this area.
Right now, Joust at St. Anglever is smack bang in the middle, pretty much. I think this is below that.
I agree. I think it is below that. I think pre-apartheid South Africa going into post-apartheid South Africa, incredibly interesting time period and the global ramifications, the banning of sporting events and teams. If that was more involved in the story somehow, that they ran and were disqualified for being Black Afrikaans during apartheid or something that then gave them the disqualification, I think that would make it a bit crazier. Whereas cheating is cheating.
I don't want to agree so quickly. Because I'm like, yeah, look, I think it goes below. I think it goes at the bottom. It's not that wild of a story in itself. Just the wildness comes around, first of all, that haziness as well. But the fact that he went back and he did it, he tried again. And then he came third, he did even better. Then he get caught for doping. But then did he dope? Oh. So it is a little bit wild. But at the same time, the only reason I devalue that, because I do think genuinely the story is pretty crazy and more interesting in some elements than maybe Raposo and St. Ingelverd, but I do think as well, like I was saying in the story, a lot of people cheat, like in marathons. And I don't think it's the first person to have cheated by swapping out with a twin brother or similar looking brother or whatnot. Halfway,
it's just so prominent because of the apartheid at the time and the tabloids taking apart.
It's huge, like story because it's as apartheid fell and everything. It's like that's why the story's so big and like it sort of holds this like collective weight in South Africans' memories.
I'm thinking if we had some concrete answers, if we know they swapped it halfway, or we know that he was on drugs.
Well, they definitely swapped it halfway. We know at least that. We don't know if they swapped more than that. They claim they didn't.
How they did it, but if they come out and do an interview and go, this is exactly how we did it. Yeah, we stuffed up and forgot the watches.
Well, they did do that, but it's just if you believe them or not. That's the problem. The problem is they can't fully back it up. So that's the thing as well. But yeah, no, I think you're right. I think generally, like from sport perspective, I feel like the athletic prowess and wildness and everything in the story sits below the rest. I think just below Sentingulverd.
Well, where do we have it then? Because it definitely fits on the scale. I don't know what we'll do if we come to a story that we think is below mild. If someone ever pulls that.
No, I think it's wild. So like, I think we chuck it on, but like, I just think it goes below jousting.
So where are we thinking? Because are we thinking
Give it
like
a couple
sort of
finger spaces,
halfway?
Yeah, like there.
About halfway. So it's
Couple finger
25%.
spaces.
A bit more, so sort of 30%, do we think?
Well, I guess functionally here, does it really make a difference if it's near the top or the bottom? It's just
It does.
fourth in our
We
ranking.
are arguing
Yeah.
semantics here.
As we
at
fill this
stage.
out, it could be, if the top's a 10 out of 10, but the mild is a 7 out of 10.
And at the end
when
of
we
the
fill
day,
it
the
with
important
tons of
thing is
stories.
who's on top, and it's Eddie Goodell.
For
Little
now.
man, big hero.
But realistically, we're just three people having a say. You're the fans.
Yeah, we're probably wrong as well.
You could all have
I've
your
drunk a few
opinion.
beers tonight.
And if it's like any of our historical accounts throughout the episodes, I think we've got a lot of stuff
Yeah,
wrong.
or our pronunciation.
Yeah.
Many a thing.
And when we research a story, you become more of a fan of that story because you know more about it.
I gotta
you hear
say,
more
and
about
I
it.
was quite engrossed in this one. I think I'm comfortable leaving him in fourth. I think Ben's right. I think the important thing is it's just somewhere on the scale. Like, who knows? Like, how wild or mild it is. That's up to you guys at the end of the day.
And
Just-
you can...
If you can run an ultra marathon of 89 kilometers, that's pretty wild in itself.
Well, I mean, he came third. So he did. I mean, maybe he was doping. Maybe. But he came third running an ultra marathon. That's pretty cool.
And realistically, how much does drug cheating really help? We hear it gives you an unfair advantage, which it obviously
where's
does.
the,
but
Lance
have
Armstrong
you seen
book?
that movie in
behind
Is
this.
it Invictus or something? There's this cyclist
Invictus?
who does this major event one year.
Invictus. I was going to say, because I'm like, isn't Invictus? I'm like, this is drawing memories now, but I'm like, isn't Invictus the name of the movie that's the one with Matt Damon and the South African movie I was talking about? Okay, you carry on.
There's
Ben.
a
I'm
movie
gonna
where
research.
there's this cyclist who does his best effort at this marathon cycling race, multiple day stage, similar format to the Tour de France, and then wants to know how much doping and cycling affects it. So the next year he goes to all the experts, says all the things he can, blood doping, drugs, steroids, whatever it takes.
Sorry to interrupt again, Ben, but yeah, I don't know how you've managed to slide this one in there. Invictus is indeed the movie James was talking about before with Matt Damon.
So the one you're talking about wouldn't be called
wouldn't be
Invictus
called
then.
Invictus.
It's not
but
called
there we go.
Invictus,
But he
it
did-
happens to be
He did worse
related
the
to our
next
story.
year
Wow.
on all the drugs. So I don't know if that's a person to person or just a
Yeah, well,
symptomatic thing.
I think
but
this is really sort of getting derailed, but what people think about sports doping, that it automatically is just going to make you good at it, but you've got to be at a certain level for it to actually have any effect. Any of us took the drug that he took. We're not running an ultra marathon. You have to be able to do it, and then this is just going to add that small 1%, because when you're at the height of it, it's the 1% of the 1% of the 1%. So adding 1% on that is astronomical in that small circle. To us, it's not going to do anything.
it's like, was it Armstrong? Was it pig blood he used?
Something like that.
Do you get fitter pigs? Like you work the pigs out so they've got better VO2 maxes and better oxygenated blood before you dope.
Ask Lance.
Yeah, that's a whole
Who's
other
doing the story on that?
Ooh, might have to draw hats.
Pig's blood doping.
Well, if you've got any stories that you want to hear, listener, or if you disagree with where we've ranked this story or any of our others, or
As you should.
you've heard some historical inaccuracy, which I'm sure there's been some of, please let us know. Where can anyone let us know, Ben?
Anywhere you listen to podcasts or watch visual media except Google Play or Google Plus.
Google Plus, yeah.
Google Plus.
Google Play. We're not on the Google Play Store
We'll
yet,
work on
though.
that. We're getting an app there. The app, unfortunately, does not have any connection to Google Plus. We are working on that as well.
Yeah, but that's at Wild World of Sports. You can find us. Thank you for coming on this journey with us today. I've been James Whybrow.
I'm James's brother Ben, no relation.
And I'm Carlin, or am I Carlin's twin brother Arnold? Who knows? It's a mystery.
Thanks, listener. You'll hear us in the next one.
Have a good one. Can I take a stab and we can always just cut it out?
Yeah.
If I'm right.
Yeah, go for it.
One of them goes halfway in advance, and they both run normal marathon distance. One does the first half, one does the second half.
Oh, I guess you have to wait and find out.